Gentlemen, the dangers of edging. I feel like I need to make a part two. And this is a bit of a part two on the video I made about 3 nights ago in terms of why you shouldn't edge when you are on NoFap. Now, I do want to keep these NoFap videos to a minimum because that's not what this channel is solely about. But I feel as though I need to make my point abundantly clear here because I see a lot of comments and I see a lot of people on forums, people that I interact with, in real life essentially, and they say, as long as I'm not ejaculating, I'm still on the streak. As long as I'm not ejaculating, I'm still, healing my brain, rewiring my brain. Gentlemen, it gives you the full sense of hope. It's this full sense of idea that you're progressing, that your brain is rewiring. But I'm here to inform you that edging is one of the worst things that you can do because you're actually hindering the process. Your brain isn't rewiring. You know that excitement that you get when you would watch pornography or you'd see a naked picture or a bikini picture, that heart racing, skipping a beat, the nervous tick, the hand shaking, that's your dopamine receptors spiking up exponentially. That's what we're trying to avoid here. And so that's why edging is horrendous, because you're doing everything apart from ejaculation. So cool, you're retaining the semen, but what do you think's happening up here? You're preempting a finish. Your brain doesn't know that you're not trying to finish. Your dopamine is already preempting a finish. So scientifically, and this is actually based on scientific evidence, of course I'm going to explain it in a bro science way because I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but your dopamine receptors, your dopamine actually peaks right before it ejaculates. So when you're edging, your dopamine is already peaking. You're already frying your dopamine levels. You're already frying your dopamine receptors. It's not enabling itself to rewire and return to the baseline level. So you're actually wasting time. You're actually almost better off when you get in that position to ejaculate and start fresh, because you're bathing chemicals in your brain and that prolongs for hours upon end. So that brain fog that you feel after edging, you're negatively impacting your brain. You're doing the total opposite to what you should be doing. My advice, turn it all off. Now, if you've got to that level where you've been edging for so long, my piece of advice, just get it over and done with. Get it over and done with. Walking around with like a cooked grenade is not exactly beneficial for anyone. So get rid of it, but you have to learn a lesson. You have to learn the lesson. What caused you to edge? What were the triggers? What made you peak, essentially? So these are things and signs that you have to be wary of. These are signs that you have to look out for. It's extremely dangerous, gentlemen, and don't kid yourself. And this is the one thing I want to mention here. This is arguably the hardest addiction that mankind has had to overcome in recorded history. You have things like smoking and you have things like crack cocaine, heroin, drugs, alcohol, whatever. But we don't know how addictive this vice is. We don't, because pornography's only been around for a few decades. We have evidence and a track record of all the other substances, but we don't for this. And we already know from the evidence how hard it is to overcome this addiction. So you're already fighting an uphill battle. Why, for God's sake, are you making this battle even harder for yourself? You're just inevitably going to relapse at some point, which is what you are trying to essentially avoid. Don't kid yourself. Use your time efficiently. Use your time productively. I've said countless times on this channel, and I'm going to repeat myself again so that this concept drills into your heads. Idle time is the devil's workshop. The minute you have free time, you're finished. You're toast. Try to avoid free time. Try to avoid free time. Try to jam-pack your day with activities. Even if it's reading, even if it's studying, even if it's walking in the park for 20 minutes to get some oxygen, to get some fresh air, just do something productive, just to get your mind off it. Because the minute you sit down in your room, in that solitary confinement space with no one around, internet access, you start to get those thoughts. I get those thoughts. It's natural. We're humans. This drug, I'm going to call it a drug. This supernormal stimuli drug is so powerful. It's beyond what you can possibly comprehend. And your brain is yearning for it. It's craving for it. Don't give in. Don't give in. But more importantly, don't edge. Because if you edge, you're honestly defeating the point of it. You're defeating the purpose. What is even the point? You're bathing your brain in chemicals. The whole point, the benefits that you derive from this journey that you embark on, is the way that your brain rewires. So how your perception of life changes, how you interact with the opposite sex, the strong, intense eye contact, the confidence that you exude, the physicality. A lot of that comes from how the brain rewires. So retaining your semen is fine, but you'll only get minimal benefits. The real benefits come from rewiring the brain. That's why I'm not actually so keen and super keen on semen retention, because for me, it's not really the semen that you're retaining, but it's how your brain is rewiring. That is the most important, because if you look at anything that is achieved in life, and all the creators, all the philosophers, all the most successful people in history have all come to a unanimous agreement that in order to achieve something, it all comes down to the mind. It all comes down to the mentality, to how you believe. And that is how I believe NoFap is one. That is the benefits that you seek, the benefits that you gain. It's all from the brain. It's all from the mind. It's all the behavior and the patterns. That is all controlled by your brain. It's not necessarily down here. It's up here. And the more you edge, you're just hindering your progress. You're making your life more difficult than it already is. Don't do this to yourself. You're already going through a difficult challenge. Why are you creating more obstacles and arduous hurdles, throwing them in your way? You're just asking for a relapse. You are asking for a relapse. And I made this mistake countless times. I would go on a nice streak, edge. Even if I didn't relapse that day, a few days later, it'd go. Because the seed was already planted. That's the issue. That's the danger of edging. Don't do this to yourself. Anyone that says edging is fine, no, it's not. Don't kid yourself. You're only fooling yourself. You're not fooling anyone else. Because at the end of the day, it's your progress. It's your journey. So in 6 months down the line, you've been edging all along and you've managed to keep it in, and you realise you've made no progress and you feel the exact same. It's not a surprise to me. It's not a surprise to me. So please take in what I've said. It's very important. Lessons to be learned here. Huge lesson that I learned. Value to be gained from this as well, especially if you're embarking on your journey. Smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.